There are people in your life right now who are quietly costing you your peace. Most of them are not cruel. Some of them genuinely love you. But after a certain age, something inside you begins to shift, something that took decades to understand. The things that once felt like loyalty begin to feel like a weight you were never meant to carry alone. The need to explain yourself slowly disappears. The need to be liked by everyone quietly fades, and in its place, something far more valuable begins to grow. The wisdom to know who truly deserves a place in the life you have left to live. Today, we are going to walk gently through 7 types of relationships that many people after the age of 70 quietly need to step back from. Not out of bitterness, not out of anger, but out of something far more powerful: wisdom. And if by the end of this, even one of these feels familiar, this video was made for you. Have you ever noticed that as the years pass, something inside you begins to shift, quietly, almost gently? The things that once upset you no longer carry the same weight, and your heart becomes calmer. But at the same time, something else begins to change. Your tolerance for negativity, for disrespect, for emotional heaviness, becomes much smaller. And here is the truth that many people begin to understand after the age of 70. Life feels lighter when you stop holding on to relationships that quietly drain your energy. At this stage of life, peace is no longer a luxury. It is a necessity. After decades of caring for others, adjusting, sacrificing, and giving your time and your heart without hesitation, something becomes very clear. Your emotional energy is no longer unlimited. It is precious. And because of that, not every relationship can continue the way it once did. Here is something worth writing down. You are not obligated to keep pouring from a cup that was never refilled. Today, we will gently walk through 7 types of relationships that many seniors may need to step back from. Not out of anger, but out of wisdom. Because letting go is not a loss. It is, in many ways, the most loving gift you can give yourself. 1. The constant critic. The first relationship to reconsider is with someone who constantly finds fault in everything you do. No matter what you say, no matter how much effort you put in, it never feels enough. If you share an opinion, it is dismissed. If you try something new, they focus on what could go wrong. If you achieve something, they quickly point out what could have been better. Over time, this kind of behavior does something quiet but damaging. Even a strong, experienced person can begin to feel smaller when they are constantly judged by someone who should be celebrating them. Think of an older gentleman who takes great pride in his small garden. Every flower he grows brings him real joy. But each time he shares that joy with someone close, the response is criticism instead of appreciation. Slowly, that joy begins to fade. Not because the garden changed, but because the person he shared it with made him feel like it was never enough. Constructive advice given with care can be a beautiful thing, but constant criticism is not feedback. It is emotional weight, and at this stage of your life, you no longer need to carry it. The wisest choice is not always confrontation. Sometimes it is simply this: gently reducing the time you spend around those who only see your flaws, and giving more of yourself to those who see your value. And if the critic quietly chips away at your confidence, the next type of person does something equally subtle. They slowly empty your energy without you even realizing it. 2. The energy drainer. You already have someone in mind. I can almost guarantee it. Every conversation feels heavy. Every interaction turns into complaints, worries, or a cloud of negativity. And after spending time with them, you feel it. Not physically tired, emotionally tired. Imagine visiting a friend hoping for a peaceful afternoon, but instead the entire time is filled with complaints about life, about people, about problems, with no desire for solutions, no space for laughter, no room for lightness. By the time you leave, your own mood has changed. Your peace has been quietly disturbed. Now, sharing struggles is a natural and human part of life. We all need someone to lean on. But there is a difference between a friend who shares their pain and a person who lives inside it, and pulls you in with them. After 70, your emotional space deserves to feel calm, not crowded with weight that was never yours to carry. Choosing emotionally balanced relationships is not cold. It is not selfish. It is the quiet, dignified act of protecting the peace you have worked a lifetime to earn. Now, before we continue, I want to pause for just a moment, because if you have made it this far, something in this message is probably touching something real in your life. You are not alone in that. Leave a word in the comments, even just the number of the relationship that felt most familiar so far. That small act may help someone else feel less alone today. And if this message is bringing you comfort, please like the video, share it with someone who may need it, and subscribe for more calm and meaningful guidance. Now, let us continue. 3. The one-sided relationship. Some relationships feel warm, but only when the other person needs something. These are the people who disappear for long stretches of time, and then suddenly return the moment they need help. It could be money, it could be support, it could simply be someone willing to listen. At first, it feels good to be needed, but over time, a pattern becomes impossible to ignore. The care only flows in one direction. Think of a grandmother who only receives calls from a relative when they need financial help. Months pass without a single simple question. How are you? Are you doing okay? I was just thinking of you. Slowly, something inside her begins to feel off. Not angry, just quietly unappreciated. Because a healthy relationship is not built on convenience, it is built on mutual care. At this stage of life, your kindness should still exist. It is one of your greatest gifts, but it must be protected with quiet boundaries. You can still be generous, without allowing yourself to be taken for granted. 4. The disrespectful family member family is important, but respect is non-negotiable. Sometimes seniors continue to tolerate behavior from family members that they would never accept from anyone else. Interruptions, dismissive tones, being spoken over as though your decades of experience no longer matter. These moments feel small in isolation, but they accumulate, and over time, they leave a mark. Imagine an elderly father sharing a meaningful story from his past, something he lived through, something that shaped him, but before he can finish, he is interrupted or simply ignored. Over time, he speaks less, not because he has nothing left to say, but because he has learned that no one in that room is truly listening. After a lifetime of experience and wisdom, you deserve to be heard. Letting go here does not always mean distance. Sometimes it simply means this: setting quiet, firm boundaries, choosing how much of yourself you engage, and showing others, through your actions rather than your words, exactly how you expect to be treated. 5. The manipulator. Some relationships do not control you openly. They do it quietly, through guilt, through pressure, through carefully chosen words that make you feel responsible for someone else's happiness. If you really cared about me, after everything I've done for you, I just thought you would be there for me. At first it may seem harmless, but over time, it takes something from you. Your freedom, your sense of what you actually want. Imagine being constantly pushed to make choices that do not feel right, simply to avoid the guilt that follows when you say no. Slowly, your own needs begin to disappear, and you find yourself living to manage someone else's emotions instead of your own. But here is the truth. A healthy relationship creates space. It respects your choices. It does not need to control them. After 70, your independence is not something to give away out of guilt. It is something to protect with quiet, unmovable strength. As we move through the final 2, I want you to stay with this thought. Not everything from the past needs to follow you into the present. Some things were meant to stay behind. 6. The past dweller. Some people live entirely in yesterday. They bring up old conflicts, old mistakes, old pain. again and again and again. Even when those moments have long since passed, even when apologies were made, even when healing had begun. Imagine sitting down with someone, hoping for a peaceful conversation. And instead, the discussion always finds its way back to something that happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, sometimes 30. Rather than feeling light in their presence, you feel pulled backward, and slowly, wounds you thought had healed begin to reopen. Here is the truth about healing. It does not happen by revisiting pain endlessly. It happens by allowing it to rest. At this stage of life, your emotional energy is far too precious to be spent on problems that belong to another time and another version of you. Sometimes, peace does not come from fixing the past. It comes from gently and permanently stepping away from those who refuse to let it go. 7. The lonely relationship. And finally, perhaps the most quietly painful one of all, the relationship where you are not alone, but you feel deeply lonely. You sit together, you share the same space, you may even share the same home, but there is no real connection, no meaningful conversation, no moment where you feel truly seen. Imagine sharing your days with someone who never truly listens, who never asks, who is present in body, but absent in every way that matters. Over time, the silence between words grows heavier, because presence is not the same as connection, and being in a room with someone can sometimes feel far lonelier than being alone. At this stage of life, companionship should bring comfort, not a quiet, invisible kind of loneliness. And sometimes, the most courageous and healing step is not holding on, but opening yourself, gently, slowly, to new connections, to people who truly see you, who hear you, who value you, not for what you can give them, but simply for who you are. As we reach the later chapters of life, something beautiful and irreversible happens. We begin to understand what truly matters. Not every relationship is meant to last forever. Some were meant for a different season, a different version of you, a different chapter that has now turned its final page. And releasing the constant critic, the energy drainer, the one who only shows up when they need something, the family member who stopped listening, the one who controls through guilt, the one still living in a past you have already healed from, and the one whose presence somehow makes you feel more alone. That release creates something rare and extraordinary. Space for peace, space for joy, space for the kind of relationships that actually nourish your heart. Remember this, protecting your emotional well-being at this stage of life is not selfishness, it is the highest form of wisdom. And wisdom is one of the most beautiful gifts that comes with age. If something in this message resonated with you today, let us know gently in the comments. Which of these 7 relationships feels most difficult to navigate after 70? Your voice matters here. And your words may be exactly what someone else needed to hear today, to feel a little less alone and a little more understood. If this brought you comfort or clarity, please like the video, share it with someone who may need it, and subscribe for more calm, meaningful guidance. Take good care of yourself, and always choose peace.